Monday. How's it going? How's it going, Dale, Justin, Vintage, Tabitha? How's it going? Quick tune in on a Monday. I feel like Mondays are important just to tap in. Even if we have no, what is going on with my screen here? Even if we have no plan, just to get the energy in the direction that matters. How was the weekend? How you feeling going into this week? How's life on a scale of 1 to 10? I've been pretty bored. I'm not gonna lie. I've been pretty bored. But then I try to remind myself, I'm like, we're just in a cocoon right now. You understand? We're going to burst out, but right now we're in a comfortable cocoon, growing, learning, right? We are in a beautiful space. Even if we want to do more, even if we want more, we are in a beautiful space. I had to remind myself of that this morning before I went to the gym. Hopped in the back of my car, turned on some like Indian tabla sounds, just meditating. And I was like, hey, we in a beautiful space right now. You know, let's try to bring more meaning into it. Because some days I wake up and I'm bored, y'all. I'm bored, but it's all good. We have to be grateful, finding grateful. We have Shanae here feeling centered. We have Angel who's been so fatigued lately, trying to climb out of it. Is it the weather maybe? Because I know where I am, man, we don't have a lot of sun, so not a lot of vitamin D. I think that's also like adds to it. We got Mel here coming in from Jamaica. Are you back in Jamaica now? Or are you still in Miami? We got Yafet here, Wagwan, Yafet. We got Be Productive here, and we got CJ who was just watching one of the older lives and was just saying, it's been a while since I got to catch one of your streams. Yeah, it's all about that divine alignment to catch one. Monday to Friday, we do have the podcast rolling again. You understand there's a new podcast up today, Spotify, Apple, titled Divine Commitment. You know, check it out. Listen to it at the gym, on your way to work, on your walk, maybe in a little meditative vibe, whenever it may be, maybe when you're drawing, maybe when you're creating. You know how it is. We got Brenda here. Nice to see Brenda. We got Bo here. We got Sunny here, who is in Peru with all that beautiful sun. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I was talking to my friend yesterday and he's in San Diego and he's like, yo, it's beautiful here. And I was just like, man, I'm jealous. I'm just jealous right now. We got a lot of gray skies out here, but you know, we're gonna try to find the beauty in the days. We're gonna find the beauty in the week, even if we had to dig deep. Even if we have to dig deep. Angel says it's been very cold where Angel's at and super windy. Yeah, see, so we in similar climate. So I feel you. Keep your head up. If you think about it, like you've been tired, but like it's also the environment. You know, like it's also the environment, you know, we are nature as well. We are a part of nature. I find there's just less sun, less light. So don't be too hard on yourself. We got Delta Heart here. We got Rue's Garden. Nice avatar picture. I like that. The dreadlock AI vibe. I like that. I like that. We got Lena here. We got Sarah here. We got Jade here from the Sunshine Coast of Australia. Sending good energy to you. Yeah, thank you. Send us some sun, yo. Anybody that's got sun right now, send us some sun. Send us some sun. We got Dr. Larissa here from Guyana. We got Chicago here. E. Bushy says, how has your day been? My day's been good. My day's really just starting. I literally just got to the studio about 30 minutes ago. Did some emails. I was in the gym this morning for a couple hours. Gym session was on point. Had a good time. And yeah, we're going to lock in for the day. I think we'll have like a mid-short stream. Every time I say we're going to have a short stream, I end up being here for hours. But no, I have a lot of other things to do today. But, you know, I like tapping in somewhat daily with y'all. You know, I think it's important just to keep the momentum in motion, you know, keep the momentum going. We got JP Prodigy in there. Okay, JP Prodigy's birthday. J Prodigy birthday. Make sure you send some love to J Prodigy in the chat. Big birthday celebration. Happy Earth Strong, my brother. Happy Earth Strong, my brother. Bless, 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 bless. A day one, somebody who is always, not always, but somebody who is quite frequently in the stream, showing love, showing support. Appreciate you, my brother. May this year be nothing but abundance, beauty, strength. May all that you need come right into your hands, plus more, big blessings. Claim it. We got England here as well. We got Miss T sending some warmth from Georgia. I think I need to come out to Georgia. Georgia looked like a little vibe. I remember back in the day, Ludacris had a song called Georgia, and I always wanted to go check it out there. Eat some good food. A little bit of sun, a little bit of them southern vibes, southern hospitality. We got Germany here as well. I got to come out to Germany as well. I have cousins out there, Jamaican cousins that live in Germany. I want to go to Germany and like go on like a rave binge and like go to techno clubs. I don't know why, but that's always like been something I want to do. Go to Germany and go to techno clubs. And I'm not even a techno head, but it's just something random I've wanted to do. Yeah. I don't know why, but we gonna do that. And we got Marley here. What's up? Who says, what do you think about angel numbers? I don't know. They cool. They nice to see. They nice to see, right? But you know, they cool. I don't look too deep into them. If I see a nice little repetitive number over and over and over, I'm like, shit, it's nice, a little affirmation in the vibes in the universe. Why not? The problem is if you feel like there's like negative numbers, and then if you keep seeing negative numbers pop up, then you will spiral. You know how it is. What's the intention for this week? I was talking to a friend the other day, and I was telling him, I'm like, man, the first week, 2025, amazing. Second week of 2025, pretty good. Wasn't as great, you know. There was a little bit more problems and challenges. And he's like, well, any great intention, disruption follows. And I was like, what do you mean? And then I thought about that. I was like, after intention, disruption follows. And I'm like, oh, like when you make an intention to do something, there will be disruption. There will be something that happens that tests your willingness, that tests your intention. If this is truly something you want to do, right? And a lot of the time, like in the beginning, it's so romantic. There's so much chemistry with the idea. Maybe you're starting a new business, everything's flowing, and then boom, challenges, problems. You know, same things happen in relationships. And that disruption is basically saying, hey, how much you want this? You set the intention. Are you ready? Are you ready for this journey? Because we know nothing in life. Some things come a little bit easy, but there's always some type of hurdle that we, have to learn how high we can jump. And when he said that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, had a little bit of some challenges in the second week. Felt a little bit behind. But that disruption was following my intention. It was just trying to teach us something. So this week, we're trying to take all the lessons from last week and apply them. Did we overwhelm ourselves last week? We might have, right? Did we underestimate? We might have, right? Were you distracted, right? Were we focused, right? Were we sprinting? Were we trying to go like God flow instead of warming up, right? Sometimes we hit the floor sprinting, and then we burn out. But maybe we need to warm up, right? Maybe you need like 2 months to warm up until you get into your full sprint, right? Just like a marathon. I used to run track and field. I was a good track and field star. And then I was in the provincial finals doing the 400 meters. And I hit about the 200 meter mark, and my muscles pulled my bone out of my hip, and I heard a loud pop. And then like my body just lunged itself off the track, and I literally couldn't walk for a month. That was the end of my track career. It was awful. It was awful. But when you run like a 800 meter, you don't completely sprint off the bat. You do preserve a little bit of energy, right? So you have energy for that last lap. No different than this year. I know a lot of us want to hit the floor running. But the one thing we want to do is be smart with our energy. If anything, I would really pray and ask for more wisdom this year, right? Beyond consistency, what do we also need? We need strategy, right? We need strategy, because we could be consistent doing the wrong thing over and over and over and over. You know, that doesn't feel good. For content creators out there, like if you're going on a consistent schedule, what you want to do is you want to like be consistent and use that as data, right? Use that as information. See what's working, see what isn't, right? Maybe you need to strengthen your storytelling, right? Whatever it may be. And then once you have a little bit more information, you can implement a strategy that's going to take you to where you want to go, you know? So that's what we're doing this week. We have a lot to do. I'm building out some experiences, some classes, some things I'm quite excited about. It takes a lot of energy though, but we're going to do it. You know, a breakthrough is going to come. We know a breakthrough is going to come. We always remind ourselves of that. When we've been struggling in the mind, looking for clarity, we know that a breakthrough will come, right? Clarity often arrives after we just, settle the mind. Sometimes clarity comes after we've been wrestling with ourselves for a while. But we could take a moment, we breathe into it, A breakthrough will come. Remind yourself of that. A breakthrough will come. Remind yourself of that. We got to do that to ourselves sometimes. We just got to give ourselves that moment. That moment. We're drinking a little bit of green tea today. I also got a new light that I can't wait to set up later and experiment. A new light because I want to start getting a little bit more creative with short form content. I've been gone from Instagram for like 5 months. I've actually lost 20,000 followers from not posting. But I actually think like a lot of those are probably dead accounts and bots, But we're going to come back. We're going to create some beautiful things. It's going to be a beautiful day. Who else do we have in the chat? We have Tim Baker here. Nice to see Tim. We got Mari here. Marie. We got Jax here. Nice to see Jax. We got Yefet who's hitting the beach. Oh man, y'all are hitting the beach right now. I am jealous. I am jealous. I am jealous. This season we are knowing whatever is for me. Let it be whatever it is and we set it free. You set an intention for something that you want, but if you're not willing to also sacrifice some of the things that are in the way, can you let it be? No, right? Being resilient, being fruitful and beautiful about what we want this season. We got Chloe D here as well. We got Bianca here, Saga here. It's nice. It's nice, it's nice, it's nice, it's nice. Kendra says, kudos to you for getting off IG. Well, no, I don't have any problems with IG. I just took a break. I actually don't even really scroll IG. IG is not an addiction for me, probably because I have so many barriers on my phone. I can't even go on IG right now. If I do, it says, unfortunately, a fierce dragon has taken Instagram to its lair. While nights are on their way. Why not slay some chores instead, But no, I wanna post on Instagram again soon, Shout out to all the creators out there. Do we got creators in the chat? If we do have some creators in the chat, I am curious with what are some of your bottlenecks right now? What are some of your biggest hurdles right now? What are some of your biggest doubts right now? What are some of your biggest worries right now? Sometimes I'm like, man, the internet is so saturated. Like, will our new works really be discovered? Will all the time we put in feel like it was, worth something? Then I have to remind myself, it's not the creation. It's not the thing that I created that is, the thing I'm looking for, but it's actually the creative process where the magic is. But still, we want things to work. We want things to grow, right? But I do that at times. I take breaks from platforms, kind of disappear. It's good. It's good for people to miss you, Definitely, you may lose some followers. I lost about 20,000, but again, probably when I start posting consistently again, like I'm sure by summertime I can have 1 million followers. We have faith in ourselves, right? If you have faith in yourself and in your abilities, and if you know you're never going to quit on yourself, then you have nothing to worry about. You literally have nothing to worry about. All it is time and space between the thing that you and what you want. And we already know the beauty is in the destination of every step anyways. We have to remind ourselves of that. Me and my daughter were chilling yesterday talking about Tokyo. And I was like, man, I really want to live in Tokyo for a year. And then I was like, well, you're going to go to Tokyo for a year. So why are you tripping? Why are you being impatient? Like, it's already happening. It's set in stone. You already set the intention. So just enjoy where we are right now. Work hard. Stan the Man says, being my authentic self. That's amazing. I love that because I'm actually working on something like that. I'm actually working on something to help people become more meaningful creators, beyond just having a personal brand, because everyone screams personal brand. But I think in the era that we're moving into with like AI, oversaturation, carbon copies, that meaningful creators, ones that can tell stories, nurture connections in whatever field. It doesn't even have to be like self-help or improvement. You could be knitting, but still telling stories in a unique way. I think those creators, even if the views aren't hot in the short term, I think those creators can have longevity. Violet says, I want to be a creator, but I can't get out of my own fears. What are your fears? I am curious. What are your fears about being a creator? Because I think now we have so many examples of people who are creative. It seems like everybody and their mama is a creator now. So I think there's enough examples out there that, like, listen, you don't need to worry about the opinions of others because everyone's already doing it, right? Like, you don't need to worry about that. Like, billions of people are creating content. So like, it's not like this rare thing to do. And a lot of the times getting over those fears happens in the process. It doesn't really happen beforehand, right? Like, you just step into the fear and then you realize, oh, it's not that bad. Yesterday I went to the ice tank, the ice plunges thing, whatever, right? So I'm going to the ice plunge and I'm like, man, I really don't like the cold. And I'm like, but I want to try it out. I want to do it, right? A little bit of fear. And I go in there and there's all these dudes in there who are like, they do this shit religiously, clearly. Like, they're doing this shit religiously. And I'm like, damn, everybody in here look like some professionals with the ice bath. I'm like, man, I don't want to look soft in this. To my surprise, I hopped in there and it was not bad at all. It was freezing. It was ice cold for sure. But they told me like, oh, on average, people can do 1 to 3 minutes in there. I did like 4 to 5 and I felt good. I even had them throw more ice in. I'm like, yo, throw some more ice in this. And I was like, wow, I was a little bit fearful about going in here that I wasn't going to be able to last that long because I'm quite competitive. I didn't want to hop in while everyone else hopped in and me be the first one to hop out. But I was like, oh yeah, once you get in, it's not too bad. And at the end of the day, I kind of like it. I kind of get the hype now. For a minute, I was like, what's with all this hype in the cold plunges? I kind of get it now. It's kind of nice. I enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Cold, but I enjoy it. It was a vibe. So at the end of the day, whatever our fears are, we just have to kind of step into them. Then we're going to kind of see that we were tripping. We often, I think, make our fears a lot bigger than they actually are, right? Like, a lot of the times, like, I really just see like creating, I really see content creation as just a self-discovery tool, and everything else beyond that is like bonus. I mentioned on a stream last week that Pharrell, when he was creating his Lego movie, he said that he realized the movie was a tool to discover himself. And while creating that movie, he realized his purpose. So at 51 years old, he realizes his purpose by creating a movie, and the movie was a tool. That's how I see what I do. I see everything I do as like a tool to to discover more of myself, things I don't know about myself, gifts about myself, explore the inner world and create bridges with other people. That's why I do what I do. Everything else is a bonus, right? The business side of it is basically to give me the ability to facilitate that journey moving forward, right? To keep going, because if there's no money rolling in for it, then I can't really continue to invest more and more time into it. But the intention for me, my ultimate why with creating content is really just like a self-discovery tool. You know, challenges you, pulls more confidence out of you, has you harness your own style, your individuality, allows you to like become a person that doesn't need the approval of others, right? Because you will be critiqued, you will be loved, and you really can't be attached to either or. So that's why I love the journey, you know? It's like a tool to learn. So I think if you have like that mindset, you can kind of shift some of those fears away, right? Now, if all you're focused on is like, oh man, am I gonna get views? Are people gonna like me? Or like, can I make money from it? And then you're putting so much pressure and muddying up the process, right? There's time to think about those things 100%, but in the beginning, I wouldn't even bother. You know, I'd just try to have fun with it. A lot of the times, the content that just blows up are the people who are having fun, right? That's why new creators often feel so like good and exciting, because they're coming with this fresh energy. They're coming without social media and the internet polluting their process, right? They're coming without the metrics getting in the way of their movement, right? And then as you become a more established creator, it's really, you're just trying your hardest not to allow social media to pollute what you do in your process. Like in the Bible, it says, you know, do your best to not allow the world to, you know, pollute you. That's like half the battle moving forward, you know? Miss T says, imposter syndrome is real. You know what's crazy is I learned that everyone experiences imposter syndrome at like every level. So you'll feel like an imposter, and then you'll master that level. And then you're like, it's like continuously you go through stages. Because when I listen to like interviews and like people tell their stories, pretty much like 90% of people will say they felt like an imposter in some way, shape, or form. So to me, I'm like, oh, that's just like a normal feeling, a part of the process, right? And then you have to realize like, no, if I'm here, I deserve to be here. You're basically creating the position for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, how do you explain something that's never been done before? You can't, you just do it. So sometimes we may feel like imposters because we're creating something that hasn't been done before. We can't even identify exactly what it is that we do. I hate when people ask, like I went on this business retreat like a few months ago with a bunch of people, with a bunch of like business folks who are like trying to learn how to create content. And when people ask me like, so what do you do? I was like, bruh, I hate these questions. I do not have like a single tagline. Other people would be like, you know, I create content to help software developers go from $0 to $10,000. They had like these catchy phrases. They asked me, I'm just like, bruh, I just, don't ask me these questions, man. Don't ask me these questions. I can't fully explain. I'm like, it's just the number one chill spot on the internet. You understand? It's a little bit of a vibe. You know what I mean? But yeah, you know, we have imposter syndrome sometimes. That's what it is. But we're creating positions for ourselves, right? And sometimes those positions are bigger than the position we were in before. So now we're stepping into that space, and we have to learn how to fill that space with our energy, right? And that filling that space with our energy is literally our belief, right? Believing in ourselves. You don't know what you don't know, right? A lot of times, like when you go through something, it's the first time you've been in it, right? So you're like, I've never been here before. Do I deserve to be here? But as long as you believe in yourself, you know that you'll be able to learn in that space, expand, and fill that space up. And you deserve to be there, you know? I do want to help as many creators possible, you know, because a lot of it is getting out of our own way, I think a lot of creation is really just getting out of our own way. Of course, there's like technical things to learn, but like all the information is out there. No problem, right? All the information is out there these days. Anything you want to do, not even in content creation, anything you want to do, the information is there. It really just comes down to, are we able to focus and motivate ourselves, fan that flame? How much do we want it? You know, like how much do we really, how much do we say we want to elevate our life because it feels good in the moment? Like or are we like really embodying that? What does that mean? What does it mean to elevate our life? Like, what does it truly mean? How do we show up for ourselves daily and not see it as like this grind, but see it as this task that's like, oh my God, I get to take my life by the wheel and steer it in the direction that matters, right? It's not, oh man, I have to grind. No, it's like, I get to create a life for myself. For ourselves too. It doesn't have to look like anybody else. Like, again, I always say, there's some creators that have like 40, 50 employees. I'm like, I don't want that life. I don't want that life. We get to create our own happy mediums, right? If that means I would make less money, that's fine. That's fine. I don't want to have to talk to 40 people every day. I don't want that life. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that life. We get to create the life that we love and, you know, love it while we're living it. Ian says, I don't like when people introduce themselves as their profession out of context. Yeah. When I used to spend a lot of time in Los Angeles and, you know, prayers go out to Los Angeles, you know, fires are still budding up. It's wild. But when I first went out there and I was working in the music industry, I would meet people and I'd be like, hey, you know, I'm HINDZ. And they'd be like, hey, I'm Eric. I'm a Grammy Award winner. It was like this constant theme. I noticed every time I'd meet somebody, they would automatically like tell me what they did or who they know. And that's why and where, like if you look in my bio of my Instagram, it says this, my credentials are in my spirit. And the reason why it says that is because of those experiences that I had in Los Angeles, where I felt like I kept meeting people. And when I would meet them, they would be like, oh yeah, my cousin won an Oscar and I know this person. Or like, it was always wrapped up in these like worldly titles, which nothing's wrong with that, you know, like our rewards are beautiful. Like they're like examples of like our hard work and discipline. But at the same time, like just because, let's say you have an Oscar, doesn't actually reflect your whole character, because there's people who have Oscars who are complete jackasses. So when you introduce yourself, you're really introducing yourself by like, listen, this is who I am, my full being. And that's what I was more interested in. Like, who are you? You know? So even to this day, I still struggle with like explaining to people. I like getting to know people and let's just get to know each other versus like, hey, this is exactly what I do and blah, 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 and this fancy tagline. But I understand at networking events, that's just how it goes. And I don't know, like maybe I'm, you know, it's just how it goes. But I struggle with that. Buds and Brushes says, that's how it is in Uptown Jamaica. You know what, Mel? I don't even have much experience in Uptown Jamaica. I realize that. Next time, maybe next time I'm in Jamaica, I gotta somehow get into the circles uptown and see how it is. Because I'm not even sure how it is over there. Wow, shout out to Leo here, who recently produced on SZA's SOS Deluxe. Tons of opportunities, blessing us. Oh man, that's so great, so good for you, Leo. I love that. I love that. I love that. Congratulations on that. Absolutely. I love that. Phone blowing up because you're making hot records. I love the opportunities. More opportunities are coming to us. Some of us are going to have so many opportunities. We're going to have to really take a time, meditate, and to know which opportunity is the right opportunity. Sometimes we're going to have too many options. And that's where like wisdom comes in, right? Because we're not going to be able to take on everything. And that's why I like knowing, I think as well, like for like creators or other people like that, like knowing your ultimate why, some of your values, your goals, that's your anchor to hold you down. So you know which direction to go when times get tricky, and when the opportunities are coming, you know what aligns. Because trust me, it's very easy. It's very easy to get sidelined when those opportunities are coming, or very easy to get sidelined when you see that there's like a different niche or type of content that's really taking off, but maybe that type of content actually goes against who you are. You know what I mean? So it's really important that we take that time to root ourselves, anchor ourselves. Lona says, feel person's energy in silence before they say nothing. Yeah, I like that. I mean, silence says a lot, right? Silence can say energy loud. Sometimes the quietest person in the room, they the loudest. Sometimes the loudest person in the room is just screaming with insecurity. We got Vintage Witch here, who just came out of a toxic relationship and feeling like I need to reclaim my energy and my voice. I know it's positive, but I still have so much frustration. Yeah, you know what's interesting is that like it's just having that awareness that you just came out of something really rough, and now you're in a season where you are frustrated. You're angry. You have to now like deconstruct so much, and like maybe your intention was all in the right place, but unfortunately it got taken advantage of. And it's like, I think just reaffirming to yourself that like, I am frustrated in this season, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you're allowed to be, but then not allowing that to live forever and like become your new being. But like, it's okay like to be frustrated for a season and know that like, yeah, you're almost gonna have to, sometimes we're learning how to walk again, right? Learning how to reclaim our voice. And at the end of the day, after, in hindsight, like when you're far removed from it, most of the time we can look back and be like, in this weird, twisted, odd way, I needed this. I needed this experience. This experience has equipped me to move forward. This experience has equipped my heart and guard my heart in beautiful ways, not to where we're not going to love again, but to where we're a lot wiser of how we allow our energy, where our energy to go, which places, which dynamics, which people, right? Pretty much every rough situation I've been in, I can look back and be like, I kind of needed that experience, unfortunately. But yeah, I always say it's all right. Some seasons we're going to be angry, and like, you just have to let it be. You have to air it out. You're angry for a season. And sometimes that anger is just a mirror. A lot of times anger will show you what you care about, right? Someone disrespected you and you're angry. It's because like, oh, they disrespected me. You understand? They abused my character. They took this aspect of my kindness for advantage, and now you're angry because it's revealing what's important to you, right? And then there comes a time where we're gonna have to like learn how to just drop it, because maybe we've been angry too long. I did a podcast on this not too long ago, where it's like some people remain angry forever, and then they form like bitter personalities till the day that they die. They may be like, oh, F all men or F all women, to the day that they die, because they're bitter. And then they go out into the world spreading poisonous ideologies because they're hurt. Hurt people, often hurt people, and healed people, often heal people. But it's not easy coming out of a rough situation. I know that toxicity be real sometimes, but trust me, there's so much light at the end of the tunnel. But you already know that. Sometimes it's just exhausting that like we have to like go through like an unfortunate situation. You're like, oh my God, like really? I really got to unpack this now? I'm exhausted. This person tried to, oh man, that's unfortunate. Cecilia says, taking it as a challenge towards forgiving someone who does you wrong in a relationship teaches you so much. 100%. And I also think like, listen, like I always say, forgiving doesn't mean that like you're letting someone back into your life. Forgiving often just means that like you're dropping it. You're not carrying it anymore, right? Because when you're angry, a lot of times it's like people think if you stay angry at someone, it's a punishment to them. But we often punish ourselves, I think, because like we have to carry this anger. So it's like when you decide to drop it and forgive, And you don't have to do that right away. But when you finally decide to drop it and forgive, it's really like you're relieving yourself, because you're like, I don't have to carry this dead weight anymore. Like, screw this. You're like, I'm lighter now. I can go focus on other things. I can give my love to like some new things in my life that I'm interested in. Maybe there's like a creative project when you want to do. Maybe you want to move to a new country. Maybe you want to focus on building a better friend group. Maybe you want to elevate in your career, whatever it may be. Maybe you want to go live in the Himalayas for 3 months, whatever. But it's like now you're lighter to go do these other things versus like holding on to the dirtiness this other person brought into your life. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just kind of bun them, forgive it, be like, yo, God, I forgive them. I forgive myself. That's a big one. Forgiving ourselves. I find sometimes that's the hardest part. Sometimes you're trying to find out if you're trying to forgive someone, but really you're trying to forgive yourself for allowing yourself to get into such a rough situation, right? Sometimes it's like you think, oh, I'm trying to, no, you're actually trying to forgive yourself for putting yourself in that situation, for ignoring red flags, because you always know there was always like a little 1 or 2 red flag, you know, but you ignored it. We do that sometimes. In my kitchen says, I had to end a friendship too because I noticed it was toxic. But I remember how you said being graceful for an ending. And I wasn't sad, but more relieved. Yeah, I realized that too. You know, like often, you know, we have these like rough relationships with the end of something, when something comes to an end. But the reality is everything comes to an end, right? Even the best of marriages come to an end because they pass away. You know, everything comes to an end. And it's like, learning to be more comfortable with the ending, right? Like, yeah, some friendships will end. Some relationships will end. Sometimes you have a job that's really good. You love everybody you love your boss. You love all your coworkers. You love the job, but you can tell that there's something else for you and you have to end it, right? And it's like just almost like honoring the end, because there's beauty in letting go. There's beauty in goodbye as well. Right? And every experience we take with us. And me, I forget a lot of experience, and I'm kind of happy, you know. 2-3 years later, I barely remember certain things. My brain is like, you know how when you delete something on your iPhone and then it goes into the recently deleted folder, and it gives you like 30 days. My brain even has like a shorter time limit on that. I delete something, that's like, get rid of it. But regardless, like, you know, the experiences that matter we take with us, which is cool, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful Monday today, man. It's a beautiful Monday. It's a beautiful Monday. We have a whole week ahead of us, which means we have an opportunity ahead of us. Reclaiming our energy this week, you know, doing what we have to do, trying not to worry. You know, we have all that we need to succeed today. All of our needs are coming to us at speed. If some of us are struggling with some needs, if we're struggling to understand like, hey, where is our next bag or check coming? All of our needs are coming to us at speed. Remind yourself of that. I remember one time I was like so broke. I was struggling. And every day I'd be in my journal, all my needs are coming to me at speed. That's all I could do. All I could do was work my hardest, try my best every single day, and just remind myself all my needs are coming to me at speed. I would write that out like 50 times on a page, and guess what? My needs came to me. May not have been on the exact timeline I wish, but like something always happens, you know, as long as you're applying your energy trying to do something, you know, not sitting on your hands, just expecting for life to do something for you, but, you know, showing up even when you don't know what you're showing up for, but you're showing up, you're just trying, you know what I'm saying? You're taking a swing, you're taking a shot. You may not sink it, but you're taking a shot, and each shot is revealing more, you know, where you're supposed to position yourself as long, you know, and then all of our needs are coming to us at speed. And then we are able to like bring a abundance into our life, like from like a more calm abundance. You understand? Like, it's like a knowing that everything is going to come to us regardless, you know? That's what like the manifestation gurus preach, right? The Colors are booming on the reminder deck right now. Booming. Colors are booming. Look at that. We probably have the most positive chat on the internet. When I be looking at the chat, I'm like, yo, y'all really be supporting each other in there. It's crazy. I love that. We have August here who says, thank you for sharing, HINDZ. I've been struggling with forgiveness and bitterness. Yeah, you know, we've all been there. I've been there too. And then like you realize, like you're like, yo, one time I'm like, yo, I don't want to be like a little bitter old man. I'm like, I gotta drop this for my own sake, feel lighter. And again, forgiving don't mean letting someone back into your life. You know, sometimes you forgive and you're like, stay way over there. Stay far away from me. You understand? Far. But it's all love. You understand? I hope God blesses you and everything. I hope you find your peace as well. But stay over there, but I forgive you. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes forgiveness does mean, you know, people coming back into your life and you're allowed to have let bygones be bygones, which is beautiful too. You know? Just freeing up the energy inside though. You know? Because all of that really does block us. You know? It's like dead weight, you know? You trying to start a business, or if you're a creator trying to launch some creator shit, but now you're holding on to all these other things, and then you're trying to realize like, well, why is my creation stagnant? Why am I having a hard time expressing? It's like, oh, what are you holding on to? You know, what are you trying to carry every single day? Maybe you can lighten the load. Maybe you can pour it into something, right? Letitia says, how do you surrender but keep faith? How do you surrender but keep faith things will work out? I surrender by doing the work, by doing what I think I am capable of within whatever is in the means of my control, right? And then I just lean into knowing that there's things behind the scenes that I have no control over, but it's working in my favor. Like, I remember a long time ago in my early video career, in like the first 4 months, I remember there's this one artist that was popping up, Rima Major. She was signing Universal Records. I remember I saw her and I was like, I want to work with this chick. In my mind, dead ass strong, I was like, I want to work with this chick. I had no idea how it would come together, but I was like, I want to work with this chick. And I just busted my ass. I just worked my ass off and just creating. And like 4 or 5, 6 months later, it actually came right into my hands and we collaborated. Then another time I was like, you know what? Bob Marley is my favorite person, my mentor in spirit. I need to work with the Marley brand some way, shape, or form. I tweeted it too. I'm like, I will. I told myself, I will. Like, I have that, like, undeniably, like, I just like, this is happening. Because that's where you have to go in the mind. Like, this is happening. But I don't know how I'm going to exactly make it happen. I can't control everything, but I'm going to work hard. I'm going to apply my energy in the direction that matters, and I'm going to believe in it fully. About a year later, the Marley brand, or Sadella Marley, Bob Marley's daughter, shouted me out on Facebook because I actually put up a massive mural of Bob in my studio. I had this like 3,000 square foot studio downtown Vancouver, and I put up this massive mural of Bob Marley. I hired 2 like friend artists of mine, and the Marley saw this mural. I made a video of it, so I got their attention. And then from there, the CEO of the Marley coffee brand ended up getting in contact with me saying, hey, we'd love to do the same thing you did, but at our new office in Denver. So, you know, I wrapped it up into a project, commissioned the same artist. We went out to Denver, put up the mural, did more video work, then ended up doing more commercial work for that Marley coffee brand and developing a relationship, and even got stocks in the company back then, right? Did not know how those things would come together. I had no idea. I surrendered that, like understanding that there's things that I can't control, but everything that's within my possibilities and in my control and what I can do, I'm gonna put all eyes on it and like come back to it every week and remind myself that this is happening and just work. I'm just a firm believer in like, working hard, you know, working hard and holding the vision in the mind. And of course you're going to have doubts some days, but like those doubts at the end of the day to me is just giving me the opportunity to like reaffirm what is going to happen. You understand? Like I often think like negative thoughts are like my bigger brother sparring with me saying like, do you believe in yourself? Right. And I had to tell it, yes, I do believe in myself. I do believe this is going to happen. And then once you do that a few times in your life, like once you think of something and then you also apply yourself to that something and then it comes into fruition, you just have more evidence. Like there's been so many times in my life where I said I was going to do something and then it happened. I remember like before my daughter got into high school, I was telling someone, I was like, oh, I don't have time for this. I can't do this. And they're like, why? I'm like, before my daughter gets into high school, I want to move. I need a bigger house. I'm like, I need a bigger house and stuff like that before we get into high school. She needs more space. And I was dead strong. I was like dead firm on that. But like, I had no idea how I was going to do that. I didn't even have the money to be able to do that. Somehow that year I made it happen. I actually paid off a bunch of debts. It was way above what I thought I would be. I was actually blooming, blossoming. Finances were just booming. Moved into a brand new place right for high school. And we did it. So then you just have more evidence. Like you literally have more evidence that like, wow, like, I've had faith. I apply myself to what matters and I make things happen. But it also does require patience. A lot of the times we quit or we let go before the magic really happens, right? Like I'm just kind of a lifer in my mentality. I may pivot, I may change direction slightly, but ultimately I've always made a promise to myself that I'm never going to quit on myself. Like I could be 50 years old and I would still be trying to figure it out. Like, like I saw this video of this old man who's 91 years old who lost his house in the LA fires and he was crying and he's like, you know what? I'm going to rebuild. At 91 years old, he's like, I'm going to rebuild. What is that? Like one, that is faith. That is faith 100%. And that is knowing his abilities. He lost everything. He's 91 years old. He's old, like I got 10 years left and he still says, I guess I'm going to rebuild it. And that's kind of my mindset is that like, I'm going to make it happen. May not happen exactly how I envision it, but the things that are happening behind the scenes that aren't in my control, I trust that the universe, that the Most High is working them out in my favor. Conceptual Art says, I'd like to collab with Jordan Peele. That would be fire. I mean, you can make it happen, especially in these days. These days, the way we're all connected, I'd be having like some of the most random celebrities sometimes pop up in my DMs. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. I didn't know you were tuning in, And then like you can develop relationships with people and then like potentially do projects and stuff like that, Like behind the scenes, like I'm working on some things, some cool things. We live in interesting times. We live in interesting times. Tabitha says it's also called strategic marketing. You put yourself out there for the Marleys to see, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah. Interesting thing though is like I never even tagged them or anything, right? Like I just put the video out and then someone obviously sent it out there. Right. But that's what I mean by like doing the work. Like if you want to, okay. So another example, because this is a great point, Tabitha. Thank you. Right. There's faith, there's doing the work, and then there's strategy. I remember back in the day, Tory Lanez, he was when he was starting to bubble up, and then Sean Kingston signed him. Right. And then he had really good videos for about a year because he had a budget, clearly, right? Sean gave him a budget. But then I noticed like a year and a half later, his video production dropped immensely, right? And at the end of his videos, it said that he edited them, he was shooting them himself. So I'm like, this guy's doing all his own videos. Budget must have ran out. So I legit just tweeted this guy. I sent him 2 of my own videos, like my own promotional videos for myself. And I'm like, hey, you need videos. Holler at me. He DM'd me back actually, like right away. And he's like, yo, those videos are fire. He's like, where you at? I'm like, Canada. He's like, really? He's like, where? I'm like, Vancouver. He's like, that's crazy. He's like, I'm going to be in Vancouver 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks later, he comes to Vancouver. We start working together. We start working together, and then also he signed to Sean. Sean sees my work. Sean's like, I want you to come out to LA. Next thing you know, I'm living with Sean Kingston. Now I'm traveling the world with Sean Kingston. The guy that brought Tory Lanez to Vancouver, I didn't know, but now is one of my best friends. He's who I went to India with. You understand? So it's also strategy. You know, you want to work with somebody, it's like, how are you going to position yourself for them to notice you? And also, like, you have to identify voids in people, right? Like, at the time when I was working at Tory Lanez, I wouldn't have hit him up if he still had amazing videos, because I'd be like, oh, he already has that on lock. But I saw a void and I could fill it, right? And that's how I approach content creation as well. I try to look for the voids. Like when I started creating content, I felt like there was a need for a slower paced content. You know, a lot of content was like pranks and stuff like that or whatever, like back in the day. And I was like, let me do like more intentional storytelling type of content. I didn't see anything like what I do, right? And then now it's like very popular to the point where it's like, oh my God, like it's like, you know, I see carbon copies of myself, which is beautiful, right? And then you try to find the voids. You know, I do the study streams because, you know, I felt like there was a void in focusing. Everyone's trying to grab people's attention through like quick, flossy, hyper-gassed edits. I'm like, oh, let's slow down and just work together. You know, you try to find the voids and then fill it. You know, like same thing in the stock market, right? Like kind of just preen the patterns. That's why when we were saying earlier is consistency is important, but strategy is also important, right? Because you could be throwing things at the wall and nothing is landing, and you could be doing that for a year, right? At that point, you have to, you know, you have to learn how to pivot too, right? Because you could be working hard in the wrong direction, right? And it does take wisdom to know like when it's time to shift or pivot. And honesty. Tamara says, your movements and speech is very calm, leisure, and unhurried. I am working towards moving in a similar, gentle, calming way 24/7. What are some practical ways I can accomplish this? I'm actually, well, I'm creating like 2 different digital products. And one of them is for creators. The other one is for the collective. And a lot of it actually does have to do with like energy and how to project that through the screen and talk in a certain way. But it's really just cultivating more presence throughout your day. You know, that's simply all it is. Crafting more presence, you know, having activities through the day that allow you to be more present, taking care of yourself. And then even just being mindful of it. Like sometimes, you know, creating content really helped me speak better, because I could watch myself back and be like, oh, you're speaking too fast. Or, oh, you're saying like a lot, like this. And then now I saw things I didn't like and I just corrected them, right? So it's like you just mature your expression, the way you speak. There's so much I could speak on it. I'm actually like crafting like a whole thing about that stuff right now. But yeah, I'll be bringing out some stuff about that in soon time, because I do think like with this whole AI revolution that's happening, like I've been seeing so many videos that are AI, like talking head videos that are really good. And I'm like, okay, so like, how are you going to be able to differentiate between like AI and humans? And it's really going to have to like come down to like just like a raw natural energy, you know? Like creators are going to have to like leave some space in between their words and leave the breath and like leave some of the mistakes, because the AI is just going to be so calculated and perfect. I've seen some AIs, you can't tell the difference, you know? It's going to be interesting. Make sure you don't forget us little folks when you famous, Tabitha. Tabitha going straight beyond the moon and above. Tabitha gonna blow up on us and be like, the #1 chill what? Nah, Tabitha's a real one. She ain't like that. But again, like for creators out there, if you just want to like learn how to like, I don't know, like speak a little bit better on camera, it's repetition as well. Repetition as well, you know, repetition as well. I always say, like, a lot of people, they'll start creating content, business people, and they get an editor right away. But I'm like, it's in the editing where you learn how to speak better. It's not actually when you're speaking, it's in the editing, because that's where you get to see yourself. That's where you get to watch yourself back, right? And that's all it was for me. Even still to this day, every stream that I do with you guys, I actually bring it into my editing session and I watch it back. And I always find things I need to work on. Oh, okay, like you started doing this a little bit too much. Slow down here. Or you didn't know what you wanted to say at this moment, and I could tell in your eyes you got a little bit frazzled. Instead, just be there silent, enjoy the sound. You know, you really learn a lot in the editing process. Jalen Demore says, I've always wanted to work on a project with you. I'm a musician and released my single last year. You know, shoot me an email. Shoot me an email. I have a lot going on right now, but like you can shoot me the email and, you know, we can develop the conversation, and when it aligns, if it aligns, then it can align, you know? And I feel like for what I do, collaborating with musicians is going to be very important for my process. Since like music is such a thing that I want to do and do more and whatnot. So yeah, you know, musicians is something that I would love to collaborate more with. Leslin says, yes, it's very true. It's in the editing that you see things you didn't consider before. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, you can watch my very first YouTube video where I'm speaking and then watch it 2 years later and then watch it 2 years later and then watch it today, and you're going to see a natural evolution. You'll see my voice get deeper. You know, you'll see the way I speak change. It should evolve, right? And like the way like you speak to your mom doesn't need to be the same way you speak on camera, right? Like you think about the type of content you're creating. Like think about like a lot of YouTubers, right? Like they'll start to be like, hey guys, blah, 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 blah. That just never was my style. I was like, I never wanted to be like, I just didn't want to do that, you know? So like you can actually like kind of think about like, you know, what it is, like, you know, what's the tone, what's the type of language you use? Like you're creating an experience, you're creating a space. It can be whatever you want it to be, right? You can add more emphasis in how you talk on camera versus how you do offline. You know what I'm saying? Like it's your decision, you know, it's your art. Speaking is an art. Speaking is an art. 100%. It's an art form. And if you treat it like that, then like there's just so much room to do whatever you want to do. And again, with this whole AI stuff coming, I know I mentioned it a lot. It's just going to be like, yeah, it's going to be important. Because again, I'm seeing videos that I cannot tell that are pretty much AI. Or I can tell, but I'm like, man, a year from now, you're not going to be able to. There's going to be a lot of slop on the internet. There's going to be a lot of garbage. The internet's going to be looking like the streets of New York with garbage just stacked up on the side. Why is New York like that? Why has New York just got garbage on the street? That shit is crazy to me. I love New York, but like, it's wild to me how they just stack garbage on the sidewalks. Heart of Human says, did you ever struggle with maintaining eye contact with the camera? What helped? Oh yeah, 100%. Go back. For anybody that like judges themselves or like doubts themselves, I go back and watch some of my first videos. I think the very first video where I was talking on camera, I never looked into the camera. I did like side profile like this, right? It was really hard for me. And then when I was talking into the camera, I wore glasses. Why? Because I struggled to look into the camera. And back then, none of the Sonys or a lot of the cameras didn't have flip out screens, right? So that's kind of like a newer thing for a lot of them, just to like throw those on. So I couldn't even see myself. So that like would just paralyze me. So I wore glasses. I saw Casey Neistat wear glasses. I'm like, I'll wear glasses. Then I realized like wearing glasses, like, you know, I'm because of the type of content I'm trying to make, I'm losing a part of the connection that I'm trying to nurture. So I'm like, I have to take the glasses off. And then I learned just to like, you know, look right in the camera. And it really depends on the scene that you have. So like my early videos where I'm like in my kitchen, on my kitchen countertop, making tea, like obviously my eye focus was like dead center because I'm close to the camera. Those are very intimate videos. But this setup here, this live stream setup, I actually don't really pressure myself to look straight into the camera all the time, because to me, it's a different setup. It's not as close. Like this setup is more of a whole scene, right? Like it's like the room is adding to the ambiance. I'm actually further from the camera. So I don't actually really focus on my eye contact. Like a lot of times I'm on stream and I'm like looking all over the place because I'm just like exploring ideas. So I don't really focus on eye contact with that. But again, the more you do something, the better you get. So if you're editing yourself and you realize your eye contact sucks, now you have to focus on eye contact, right? And the more you do it, then the less weird it feels. It gets easier, right? If you use a teleprompter, then like if you're reading something, then obviously eye contact's really easy. But the problem with a teleprompter is a lot of people read it in such a robotic way that you can see their eyes scanning the words, right? And I think you lose a little bit of connection with people like that as well. So my favorite thing to do is no teleprompters, because I just think there's so much magic that you need to leave room to flow into the process. But I do understand the need for a teleprompter if you're delivering like hard packed information, especially if it's just like about business or something. I understand that, right? But anything else, you know, the more you do something, the better you get. Simple. And I find like where you position the camera could also change how you speak, right? Like if the camera's really like, you know, someone walking with their camera and vlogging may feel more personal than someone sitting on a stool. Like if I was sitting on a stool in the middle of the room, like a portrait style, like soft white belly, I may speak a little bit different just because I'm in a different environment. So it's actually very interesting as a creator if you just put yourself in different environments, different setups, and kind of just notice if there's like a change in how you speak, because normally what I find there is. So then you can kind of curate your videos around that. But again, the more you do something, the better you get. Simple. And you just gotta edit yourself. You gotta watch yourself, right? Even basketball players film games and watch themselves to see their form. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all it is. You're studying yourself. No pressure to be as good as somebody who's been doing it for years that you see on Instagram, you know? And a lot of the things that you think are flaws, oddly enough, other people are going to like enjoy. That's like the weird thing, is that like there's probably things you don't like about you, and then someone else is gonna like love that about you. And then you're gonna be like, whoa, that's interesting. That happens. Tamika says, do you intentionally apply any principles or morals from specific religions or spiritual affiliations? Yeah, I would say the Tao. You know, I love the Gita, and also, you know, principles from the Bible. I say those three for sure are probably like the main three spiritual texts that I like cipher through 100%. I see like the Tao as like more like nurturing, like rhythm and balance in life. You know, I love the concept of like, you know, how like yielding or like, you know, soft, like, you know, being soft in ways can be stronger than being hard. You know, the Tao says like, it says something in the Tao how like the master does nothing but yet gets everything done. You know, like I just love the contrarian nature it holds versus to our modern society. There's also another book, The Tao of Leadership, which I love, because instead of like trying to be a leader that controls and yells and like, you know, tries to be in charge, the Tao of Leadership teaches like to actually spark the leader in everybody. And even if like you brought the answer, it's like you want other people to come to the conclusion, not you giving them the answer, but like nurturing everybody to come to the answer together so they can get that sense of pride and achievement which within themselves, which also bursts the inner, like a leader is creating more leaders. A bad leader just wants to be the leader and everyone follows them and control and they get to control everybody. But a good leader is also sparking the leader in everybody, right? Which is beautiful. So the Tao, I love the Tao for like concepts like that. And then the Bible when it comes to the heart. I love the Bible for like Jesus teachings for anything with the heart. And then the Gita, I kind of look at the Gita as like a creative, anything for like creative devotion and dedication, you know? It's kind of what I do. Sue House says, love you, HINDZ. Been here since lockdown. When is the reminder deck back in stock? So I do have reminder decks. But unfortunately, the warehouse that was doing all my shipping, my stock and shipping, they closed down. So at the moment, I just don't have a shipping and receiving thing going on. So I don't have a clear answer on that yet. I might do it myself or hire someone locally here to like assist me. So I'm going to figure that out by the end of February because I do actually have still like somewhat a good amount of boxes. We sold a lot, but we still have some that we can sell. So hopefully by the end of February, I have that figured out. Hopefully. In the meantime, just join the newsletter. I think there should be a link on my website and you can stay updated in that way. Nicole says, I've been listening to your podcast for over 4, maybe 5 years, and I'm so glad you continue to shine. You understand. Yeah. And I remember there's people who would leave comments being like, can you stop saying you understand? I'm like, I'm not even conscious of it. I just say it. I'm like, you understand? Elio says, I can't help but feel scripted and tense in videos. It doesn't feel like I'm expressing myself true. So this is actually really, Elio, this is what I'm like, actually, I don't want to call it a course because I just feel like the whole course market on the internet is just like really cringe these days. So I don't want to call it a course. I'm going to call it an experience, but I am crafting an experience for creators. And one of the key components of that is helping creators get beyond that scripted, intense feel in videos and like to a place where they feel like they're like expressing themselves truly, organically, and as they evolve. And that's just how it is. That's a part of the process. Like you're going to feel scripted, intense, and like that is information, right? So when you are feeling scripted, intense, that is information. Like I can write a beautiful video, throw it on a teleprompter, and then read it, no problem. But if I do that, it feels scripted, intense, and I don't like that feeling. So once you like feel that feeling that you dislike, that is information. Then you have to watch back and be like, what is it about it that is not resonating with me? Am I being too tied to my script, right? Am I reading off of something, right? Maybe you need to just completely ditch the script when you're doing your video. Have like 4 bullet points or not even the bullet points, right? Just take 30 minutes before you record, go over the ideas, embody it. Because anything you're talking about should already be something that you've learned or you're pretty knowledgeable about or that you've been thinking about that you can kind of speak freely on. Problem is when you write something out like a script, you write it so beautifully that you become married to those words and then you don't have the confidence to do that video without the script because it's like you've laid it out so beautifully in text, right? So that's why sometimes having such a beautiful script can actually hinder how you're speaking on camera because you're like, well, I can't remember like 1,500 words. You're not going to remember like a speech. It might take you a whole week to remember that like word for word. And you're like, I wrote this out so beautifully. And I find sometimes that can hinder it. So I think really crafting the ability to speak freely, knowing what you're talking about, developing little systems, which is something I'm showing like in this little experience I'm crafting because I've come up with many different tricks and ways to support me to do that. Please. Okay, perfect. Hey, good opportunities in our inbox. Tabitha says, I don't script my videos at all, and it's the most freeing thing ever. Yeah, the reason why I love live streaming is because it feels, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, like, it feels So nice. Like when I turned on record today and hit the live button, one, I wasn't actually planning on going live today. I wasn't planning on it. But then I was like, it's Monday. How am I not going to hop on with the tribe? When I clicked live, there is not a single thing in my mind that I had on my mind to talk about. Right? But you just like craft confidence in this space that like you have the ability to like speak freely and like navigate through different topics, right? And it's really fun actually, like improv is play. And like Al Yasha says, your soul is the script. Yeah, I love that. So the script is, oh, that's good. That's real good. We got bars in the chat. That's fire. Your soul is the script. The script is in your soul already, right? It's really having confidence with yourself, really having confidence with yourself. And that's why I'm a big believer in live streaming being a part of creators' formats. It doesn't need to be your main format, but live streaming can be a great format where you learn how to speak and you sketch ideas. So like you may be thinking about things and like you can just go on live stream, start to talk about them, find the holes in your ideas, and then also see what people were resonating with, and then go build on those ideas after you're live. So live streaming is kind of like a sketch pad to me, like a place just to come like roam freely and just like, see how we're connecting and all of that. So I actually think it should be a part of like a lot of creators' formats and processes, especially moving forward in this dangerous AI revolution where robots are going to be taking over. Bruce Lee says, I would say make bullets or notes to remember what I want to talk about. Yeah, so if you look back in a lot of my early videos, I had like a notepad. And on that notepad, I would literally just write like 5 different words. And each word represented a new segment or chapter in what I wanted to talk about. So that was my pathway. Now, I didn't have a script on my piece of paper, but I just had 5 different words, and those words represented different chapters and what I wanted to talk about. So when I would see that word, I would know what this next segment meant, and then I would just roam freely there and then get to the next one. So you just kind of have to know how your own mind works, challenge it a bit, stretch it a little bit, and then find your own way. Because the way I do what I do exactly to a T may not work for you, but there'll be elements of it that works for you. But at the end of the day, you're crafting, like, you're crafting your own style. Because writing and speaking, like In My Kitchen said, is 2 different art forms, 100%. 100%. Nicole says, I love that you understand. Alex says, I appreciate it so much. I've been watching the videos almost every day. You make such a difference. You inspire me to be consistent and take action. Yeah, make taking action like your new spiritual practice. That's how I see it. Taking action is just simply more information. And we do have the podcast that is running Monday to Friday on Spotify and Apple. So if there's not like a video up on YouTube, I'm actually still like kind of like coming up with like a YouTube strategy. It changes every single week. Literally every single week it changes in my mind. But that's okay. That's okay. Valerie says, my anxiety has been through the roof over the past few weeks, and this conversation are truly helping me rewire the way I'm approaching everyday thinking. Oh man, that's literally one of the best things I could hear. Not the fact that you had anxiety, but the fact that like, these conversations are helping you rewire that. I absolutely love that. Thank you for tuning in. That's beautiful. Live from Mexico City. I've actually been craving to come back to Mexico City for like a good 2 years now. It's been on my mind. I've been once a long time ago, but I've been wanting to come back. Right. And yeah, that's what these conversations are kind of about. It's kind of like just rewiring our mind. It's not really, that's all it is. That's all it is. We just create space, and, we can pull what resonates from it. out of it. You know, beautiful Mondays. You know, we're just setting the tone for the week, the intention for the week. You know, try to have more fun in different ways. Bring fun into the process. I told myself that today. I'm like, yo, make sure, because I know you're gonna grind hard. You're gonna grind hard. I know you're gonna grind hard, but please have fun. Please have fun while you're doing it. Do not get into a hamster wheel. And I was like, okay, I got you. That was like my inner child probably saying that. He was like, big bro, please, let's have some fun. Don't just be in grind mode. When you're grinding, make sure it's fun. I was like, okay, I know what you mean. You know what I'm saying? Rewiring, you know, really it's like I think it's a daily effort in rewiring our mind, because it's pretty easy to fall down a like negative cycle, right? And then when you're in a negative cycle, you're like rewiring your mind for negativity and to see the worst in things. So it's like, just like your body, like it's amazing how like you could like be consistent in the gym, you know, craft like an amazing body, and then 6 months later, if you're not consistent, that thing will shrivel up. You know what I'm saying? Like you lose it. It's really a daily effort. Just like we have to treat our bodies right daily, we got to treat our minds right daily. It's a daily effort to feed our minds, right? To make sure it's equipped, to have that consistency. Because again, we could have a really good week and then we have challenge, right? Disruption follows intention. We set an intention, you know, oh, I'm going to do this. We're excited in the beginning, we're romantic about it, chemistry about it, and then boom, something happens. And then when something happens, are we going to fall off and quit, or are we going to pivot, adapt, and continue to move forward? And if we have the mindset that we need to succeed, we can move forward. When I was doing the cold water bath yesterday, he was telling me, he's like, the cool thing about this cold water bath is, he's like, you'll find that like, because you intentionally put your body in this stressful situation, he's like, one, it's really good for your nervous system, right? So you're like rewiring and regulating your nervous system. So when BS happens during the week, because nonsense is going to happen, something's going to happen in life, it's going to stress you out. He's like, you've kind of like prepared your nervous system in a way to handle stress. And when he said that, I'm like, oh, I love that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you're doing the work beforehand, because at the end of the day, there's going to be problems. There's going to be challenges. You know, like anytime I get out of a rough patch and I'm in a good patch, I'm always like, well, I know there's going to be challenges again in the future. So it's like, how can we prepare ourselves for those challenges so we can ride them easier, right? No different than like, you know, saving money to be able to withstand future financial problems, or like something happens, you know, and like you're good because you've been saving. Same thing with our mind, is like nurturing our mind, preparing our mind for whatever challenges. There may be something really crippling that happens 2 months from now that like really gives us a lot of anxiety. But if we were already kind of like consistently rewiring our mind, we're going to be able to navigate that tough situation with grace. Versus if we weren't, we may just like crumble, fall, and then like, you know, completely just have to pick ourselves off the ground. So, you know, we're mentally getting stronger. And then also when I was in that ice water bath, I told him, I was like, yo, you know what's funny is like, I didn't think I was going to be able to last as long as I did. Like, and he's like, well, it's really just all mental. And it really is. And I realized, I'm like, yo, in the last year, we cultivated a lot of mental strength. So when I was in that ice bath, I actually found that like, at first it was so freezing, but I was actually able in the mind to like just focus on my breathing. And then I would literally be like sending warm energy to myself, and I would actually feel myself get warm. And I was just like, oh, well, we've been doing the work on our mind, especially in this past year, and a lot of just like strength. You know, you can do strength training for the mind. That's like what we do over here. We're like training the mind. I like that. In hindsight, we train. Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's fun. Training grounds for the mind, you know, strong mind, a positive mind, a graceful mind, you know. Because like a strong mind isn't just a mind that's like, go hard and get it. You know, that's not our style over here. That's not really our style over here. A strong mind is also a mind that is able to give grace to oneself, forgiveness to oneself, but also be accountable to oneself and push oneself, you know, because we need all of that. We need all those elements, different types of touch. We need a soft touch. Sometimes we need to be hard on ourselves. It's necessary, you know. Sometimes we need a pat on the back. Sometimes we need a hug. Sometimes we need a little nudge, you know. Nina says, how do you find so many good topics to talk about here in the podcast? And I agree with everyone who say it's helping them. You know what I love about this chat today is that like I'm developing, again, this like creator experience thing for creators who want to like craft a more meaningful presence and want to elevate their content. And a lot of the questions that all of you have been asking me today is exactly what I'm developing. And I'm not going to lie. Some days I have doubts when I'm developing this thing. I'm like, is this even important? Like, are people even going to want this? Like, is this really necessary? Or am I just like full of myself? I have those thoughts sometimes. But the fact that you are asking questions that I'm actually already crafting the answers to is fulfilling. Now I'm like, I need to go create this thing because people are actually interested in. And I actually have a massive whole thing that I created in August about how I craft ideas like every day, especially for the podcast, because the podcast I did Monday to Friday for 2 years straight. One of the things about the podcast was people were more curious about how I was doing it every single day, and it was like resonating for them, right? If I was doing it once a week, I don't think nobody would have been that curious. They'd be like, oh, he has all week, but they were very curious about it every day. And I actually created, again, I don't want to call it a course because I just don't like the word course right now, but I created this experience in August. And I wrote it all out. I haven't filmed it yet, about how I did just that, like how to source ideas from like the scribbles in your mind and like transform it into substance. And anybody can do it. Actually, there's like anybody can do it. It's actually just, there is a process to do it, or how to find like the smallest mundane thing and then transform it into like a metaphor and then tie it to your own personal experience or something, an observation. So it's actually very possible. It's just a process. And because I just do it so much, we can come here and we can just speak and we can do the podcast daily. Now the podcast is daily again, Monday to Friday for the rest of the year. That is my goal, to stay consistent over there from Monday to Friday. We'll see how that goes. We're going to do it. We're claiming it. We're claiming it. We're claiming it. But you have to understand, like I'm literally somebody who like 10 years ago, when I started listening to podcasts, I told myself, I would love to podcast, but I have nothing to say. Why would anybody listen to me? And I hate my voice. So like literally, I am not somebody who like came out the womb speaking and like, no, like I'm not like, no, like this is all crafted and built. And I think any creator, anybody that wants to just, I don't know, like elevate different elements of their process or whatever, it's all possible. 100%, right? 100%. Because you have to understand, like someone earlier said, like your soul is the script. Within you, there are so many stories already, right? Like everybody is a student and a teacher. Like everyone goes through things, everyone's overcome things. So regardless, like if you think you're successful or not, you have been successful in different things in your life. Maybe it's not material success, right? But you have had challenges in your life that you've overcome. Every day you have observations and you have curiosities. Anything you are curious about, there is at least 100,000, there's at least 1 million people in the world that are also curious about that same thing, right? So it's believing in your story, it's believing in yourself that like the information within you and everything you go through, your experiences, your emotions, your observations, everything that you eat, taste, smell, create, all of these are different elements and textures. And then you find a way, you alchemize it into a video, a podcast, a painting, a song, whatever it may be, right? That's all it is. And you're just finding ways to take all of this and bring it into a cohesive manner that people can receive and enjoy. And anybody can do it. Anybody can do it, right? And everybody will do it in their own cool little way. And once you start to craft your own process, then it's like you have your own way of doing things, and it's beautiful. But I am going to provide as many resources as possible to support people on that journey. because again, in this AI revolution that's coming, yeah, I just think the internet's gonna just need more meaningful creators, like a meaningful presence over a personal brand, right? Presence over brand. Presence over brand. That's kind of how I see it. Lena says there will always be someone who you might not think would listen that will actually, well, yeah, exactly. There's, yeah, everybody has a story. You are the director, the editor, the producer, the main character. You know, you could be the background actor too. You can play the sidelines in your own story at times. 100%. And then again, it's practice. It is practice. Kianto Hines, as an artist, what's your philosophy when it comes to personal finance? I'm currently trying to invest money in multiple assets to set myself up to be able to make art and music. Yeah, of course. I think like nobody wants to be a struggling broke artist, right? Like it's not fun. It's not enjoyable, right? So whatever you can do to assist yourself in becoming more financially resourceful, then you can apply more energy to the creations that you want and maybe even make things that are more authentic to you. I have a buddy who is just like a wizard, right? Like he's just really smart. And by the time he was 30, he already was, millionaire and, set up a thriving business, retired his family. And now he's like financially good for the rest of his life. Like he wouldn't have to lift a finger. He's 34, he's like 33, 34 years old. And he wouldn't have to lift a finger if he didn't need to ever make another dollar again. Now he just dedicates all his time to making music and his business is running on autopilot, right? And he's just fully dedicated and learning like an instrument at this moment, right? So like having more resources as an artist, one, gives you more time and freedom to do the things you really want to do and also do bigger projects as well. But also sometimes when you are a struggling artist, that really nurtures your creativity too, right? Because you're struggling, there's so much going on within you. So you're taking all this frustration and emotions and you're really trying to bring something of value into the world so you can get noticed and seen. That really creates like revolutionary shit as well. But nobody wants to be a struggling artist forever. So like definitely get your money up, man. Like everybody, and be patient with it. And yeah, I don't even think like your money needs to come solely from your art. Like your money could come from other things and then your art can be like free in its own way. Like Rick Rubin says, like as soon as you monetize it, you automatically define a different relationship with it, right? And then you're gonna have to go through that challenge as well. I went through that challenge as well. It's very difficult. So like maybe like certain things that you create, you don't even really want to like have like finances wrapped up in it. And maybe you're making money in other ways, or maybe you do. That's just up to you. But of course, like nobody wants to be a struggling artist forever, right? Like nobody. It's just not the vibe forever. But it's a part of the journey, for sure, for sure. Hey, we got cross culture. Hey, we got the guy cross culture Kev in the building, who makes these fire chai tea videos on TikTok. I haven't had some chai tea in a long time. Probably the best chai tea I have was when I was in India. You understand? When I was in Punjab, when I was in like Jalandhar, or maybe it was when I was in Goa. I don't even know. Someone says, who are other meaning forward creators you enjoy following? Well, you're definitely one, brother. I see your stuff on TikTok. You're dope. Who else do I like? There's this other girl that I actually collaborated with in Nairobi. Her name is Temi from Nairobi. Temi is fire. She is just like well-rounded creator, just consistent on Instagram, launched her own podcast. Now she's like doing YouTube and she's just like such a light, especially for the girls over in Nairobi. So she's fire. I think she's going to be like super massive. So Temi, I forget her last name, or I just can't pronounce it. It's Temi, Semino. Yeah, she fire. I'll probably bring her on the podcast. Other creators, like meaningful creators that I enjoy. Who else do I enjoy? There's another guy I like. His name is Cochise Taraksa. He's pretty low key, but he's been doing this thing for a long time, just giving like information like straight as it is. Who else do I like? I like some musicians, like some people who they don't even need to say words, but they bring so much spirit into their creations. There's an artist named Shabaka. He plays the flute and other instruments, you know, very meaningful artist, bringing a lot of energy into what he does. Who else? I'm sure there's more, but yeah. Interesting thing is like right now in my life, like the content I'm consuming isn't even like in the realm of anything I create or talk about. A lot of the content I've been consuming has been like financial podcasts and like trying to learn like, you know, more about the stock markets and like the patterns and things that are happening in the world. That's like exposing myself to different things to learn. So interesting enough, like the things that I speak about and share about, I'm actually not really consuming content in the same realm. But I do come across really cool creators, of course. I think there's also just so many. I see like new creators popping off on YouTube all the time, like really good vlogs, cinematics, you know, great color correction. I'm seeing a lot of good stuff these days. So even though there's a lot of amazing things, you still have to understand there's nobody like you too. If you craft your own thing and you just kind of stay true to it. Someone says, you ever thought about a meet and greet? Yeah, of course. I really should have done one when I was in Nairobi because people were asking me to when I was out there. But I'll obviously do it. When I start like moving around a little bit more. We'll make that happen. We'll make that happen. Find like a fire tea spot, fire tea shop that can facilitate it. That'd be vibes. For sure, that'd be vibes. You know what I'm saying? That'd be vibes, big vibes. Definitely do the meet and greets. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting just to see where everything goes on the internet in the next few years. It's just going to be very interesting. It's going to be like a completely new space. It could be a completely new space. It'll be very interesting. Beautiful vibes today, y'all. Beautiful vibes. A little bit of green tea. Rest of the day, I got some other things to work on. It's always a vibe. Delta Heart says, I would love to meet at a greet. Meet and work. Yes. Cross Culture Kev, been thinking about prioritizing long form on YouTube. Any good resources to help create a live show vibe? Yo, Kev, just hit me up if you want. Like, shoot me a DM on TikTok or Instagram. And any questions you have about creating some live form, I'll help you out. But I think you should invest in YouTube long form because you already make really good videos on TikTok that people engage with. And obviously, TikTok for America is shutting down right now. So obviously, there's going to be a little bit of disruption there. And I've been noticing more and more TikTok creators. And the beautiful thing about YouTube right now is YouTube is actually prioritizing new channels. So like I see new channels start and like by the fourth video, their fourth video is getting like 50,000 views. YouTube actually said they are intentionally pushing out new creators. So it's almost even like better chance like to like, it's right now like the best soil ever. Like 2 years ago, starting a YouTube channel was like, okay, I'm starting a YouTube channel. Like it's going to be like this long grind. Now the possibility on YouTube is you can start a YouTube channel and I'm not lying. I see YouTube channels that all like every day that started a month ago and outperform mine easily, right? I actually think when I do these live streams, I'm going to clip a lot of them and just post them to like a new channel So right now would be such a beautiful time for you to start a YouTube channel because the soil is ripe and you already have the tools to create content. And all you got to do is bring it into a long form environment. But I do think like live streaming should be a part of everyone's process. If you're trying to like nurture community and connection, because how much connection can you really craft through like the comment section, you know? You know, a little bit. Like someone says, I love your videos, and you say, I thank you, like, right? But like, y'all know we do these streams pretty consistently. Like I know actually quite a bit about people who are consistently in the streams. So beyond like, you know, beyond people just knowing about me, I know about you, you know, I know about Tabitha, you know what I'm saying? Like I know about a lot of people who, I know Spoken Barn being here. I know about a lot of you as well because we be hanging out so much, you know? So it's like, not, people don't even know about me. I know about you. And at the end of the day, that's actually creating community, right? Because it's going back and forth. Yes, Kev, YouTube algorithm is giving TikTok 2020 vibes. That's exactly what it is. So they have clearly learned that like it's great business to help creators blast off. And you know, just like TikTok, that was like a window of opportunity. I think me and you were both kind of early on TikTok. And then I'm sure like we both saw how like that window of discoverability, you know, started to close and TikTok like views started to go down. And I abandoned TikTok completely, but because I didn't want to make short form. I wanted to do YouTube. But I don't know if this YouTube opportunity will be around forever. You know what I'm saying? Like it may just be a window of opportunity where they're pushing new channels, because how many new channels can you blast off until like, I don't know, you like destabilize the whole place. So again, now would be the time, y'all, if you've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, because I see channels every day post, and in their first month, they're like they outperform me with 800,000 subscribers, right? It's just, even Gary Vee says this. Gary Vee is like, I have millions of followers on every single platform, 17 years in the game, brand dominance. And he's like, somebody can start an account today on LinkedIn or YouTube and outperform me. He's like, that's just where we are right now. He's like, we're not really in the attention economy now. He said something about we're in the interest economy. So if you can post your first video, as long as if it's like an interesting thing that a lot of people would like, it can go off. You don't even need a community. You don't even need people following you now, because YouTube will just push it out. It's like TikTok. You know? YouTube does not care. They want that moolah, Tabitha says. Yeah, YouTube want that money. They running it up. Billions. I mean, some of these companies have too much money. You know, when you start to hear like this person has like 50 billion and then this person has like 80 billion and this company has like 153 billion, you're just like, yo, the wealth divide is a little bit way too much right now. It's getting a little crazy out here. It's getting a little crazy out here. You don't understand what? Hey, Laurie, why are you throwing up the suspicious face? What's with the suspicious face, Laurie? What's the suspicious face? Spoken Barn, what do you understand? What did I just say? What did I just say? I forget what I just said. Bud says, I have 5 years of content from my event that I really want to upload on YouTube. I just don't know how to edit videos. I mean, there are like a lot of tools now that'll make editing a lot easier for you. And again, a lot of people love things now like really raw in its form, so it might not take too much editing. I would say realistically, if you took 2 weeks and like just applied like a couple hours a day to like learning, you'd be able to edit it 100%, because there's just so much information now. And there's so many tools that actually make editing easier. So it's definitely possible. You could definitely do it. It just really comes down to is like, is it worth your time, right? Is the desire of having it out worth learning in the meantime? So, or, you know, get an editor to do it. Oh, you do not understand mega wealth. How long does editing take usually? It really depends on what you're editing, right? And if you're a fast editor or not. So it's really hard to say. I'm saying if someone wanted to learn, it could take 2 weeks to like learn. But to edit, for me, I'm like, I can edit very fast. Sophia says she uses InShot app on her phone, so you can check that out. Okay, y'all. Beautiful session today. I got some more work I have to do. I think these Monday vibes will definitely be a ritual. I think they set the tone in the right direction. Real chill. Lady Rose wants to start a YouTube, but so uncomfortable. You know what, Lady Rose, we gonna get you started this year on YouTube. Because I was uncomfortable and awkward in front of the camera. We gonna get you started this year on YouTube, Lady Rose. You gonna be making a video this year. We gonna get you started. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be amazing. You know what I mean? Okay. Anyways, y'all, I had a blessed time today tapping in with y'all. We also gonna get we gonna get Lori going too. Lori wants to put out art, but also have doubts. We gonna get Lori started this. Don't worry, it's a process. It's a process. We gonna get some of y'all started this year. It's going to happen. You know, we gonna see it. We gonna see it. It's gonna happen. We gonna be there for you. Well, I'm gonna tap in soon. You know, I may be even live tomorrow again. We'll see what's going on, but I gotta go work on some stuff today. Got a lot to do today. Big mission today. Wish me luck. Send me love. And I hope y'all had a good one. I'll leave the video up for a replay. And if you want to support the channel, tune in, share to your stories. People that tag me on Instagram, I'm reposting them. So, you know, you can always post a clip of you watching this stream. I'll repost it. And then, you know, I think as the year goes, you know, these things will grow a little bit more in a real grassroots type of way. So one love, and I'll see you on the next one.